mom to Rémy, who's now 17 months old. And ever since we set up his playroom, I've been itching to get some of his artwork up on the walls. And that's because I'm a huge believer in putting up children's artwork. I think it goes a long way in helping them develop a sense of pride in their work. And that translates to a more concentrated effort as they create. Now, I am not a believer in plastering the walls with all of their drawings and paintings. When I was an art teacher, I stressed that not everything is display worthy. There should be dozens of lesser quality practices that come before a final draft. But for that one product that is extra special, I believe in giving it the star treatment. I frame it, I hang it up on the walls and give it room to breathe, and I treat it as an honored guest in our home. Right now, Rémy doesn't really know the difference between his best work and drafts. He's just learning how to make different marks. But I still want to give him the chance to see his art up on the wall. I also want it to look good in the room. So we're going to create a collaborative art project that reflects where Rémy's skill level is right now. I'm going to share with you the materials that we used, my part of the project, and how Rémy layers on his part. In the end, we'll have 3 framed pieces that add much needed personality to this playroom. So let's dive in and do it. Let's take a look at all the things you're going to need to get started. I'm going to provide a list and links below so that you can reference it later. The first thing that you'll need is the paper. It needs to be watercolor paper and it needs to be big. The bigger, the better. Why so big? Scale is everything in modern art. It's a secret that artists have taken advantage of forever. The bigger the piece, the more important it seems. I promise you that if I could get my hands on a reasonably priced 6-foot long piece of watercolor paper, anything that Rémy and I did would seem very impressive. Then you're going to need watercolors. I love watercolors, so I have a few sets. The set I'll be using is a watercolor pan set. It's not my most expensive set, but it's a step up from what I give kids. If you only have a kid's set to work with, you can definitely make this work. Then there are the brushes. I'll be using a couple that are on the larger side. I also have a little bowl for water and an old cloth for cleaning and drying my brushes. If you don't want to ruin a washcloth, go ahead and use paper towels. Once I'm done with my part of the project, Rémy's going to need crayons for his contribution. I went with honey sticks because they're nice and chunky and because they're natural, so I don't feel bad if he sticks them in his mouth. I also mount the paper to a wood board with painter's tape. This step isn't necessary, but it makes it easier for Rémy to color without bending the paper. So if you were to take this step, you would need a wood board and painter's tape. That's everything we need, so let's take a look at my part of the project. At this point in time, Rémy's drawings are basically scribbles. They are sharp, colorful lines. So I thought it would be nice to add some round softness to the mix. I'll be covering the whole page in colorful amoebas, and this will serve as the background. I'm looking for an uneven, watery feel, so I'll be using a wet-on-wet technique. To do this, you will wet a brush and make a free-form round shape just using water. You'll want to use enough water that the colors can move, but not so much that it won't stay in the shape. Then add color to the shape. I work the color into half of the shape, then I clean my brush and grab another color that's close to the previous color on the color scale. I then work the second color into the shape, blending the two together. Finally, I rotate the entire page around to let the watercolors move and do their thing. I repeat the same steps for all the shapes, filling the page with color. When it is dried, I mount the paper to a wood board, making sure I don't cover too much of the edge with the painter's tape. Now that I'm done, let's look at Rémy's contribution. I have a basket filled with crayons on his play shelves, and when he goes and picks those out, I know he's interested in working on our project. He picks up different colors and draws over the shapes I made until he feels over the activity. He has no concept of visual balance yet, so while he's going along, I make sure to rotate the picture so that he colors all over the paper. We've been working on colors, so I name the colors as he picks them up or uses them. Sometimes he gets so caught up in this, he forgets to color. It takes several different play sessions for us to finish one picture. I know it's done when he has covered most of the paper with his marks. Once the piece is finished, I frame it and I prepare for a little art scan. Now this is the step that even most art teachers skip out on, but it's the one that will ensure that your child knows that you take them and their work seriously. It also prepares them for a future where they will be able to intelligently talk about their work and their thinking process. We sit down in front of his artwork and I point out the colors and shapes and ideas like balance. He can't engage in a discussion about art yet, so I'm just exposing him to ideas and language for future use. As he gets older, he'll be able to explain his work to me, as well as the choices he made during the act of creation. Now that everything's framed and hung up on the walls, I'm happy with the way that it turned out. I do wish I went even bigger with the paper, but the three together work pretty well. It adds some color and fun to the room. I hope this video gave you some ideas about how to approach your first hangable art project. If you give this one a try, let me know how it goes in the comments section. And while you're here, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be part of our little learning community. We're going to be putting out videos on play and learning and literacy every week. Thanks for watching.